Picking up an iPad was really scary at first. Picking up Procreate, you know, it comes with a learning curve. So for me, it took a long time to learn about these things that make your process a lot easier once you know them. Something I want to do is create a series that helps you get the basics of Procreate down so that you can focus on creating your voice and your style. Style for me comes with a big disclaimer. I think that our style is constantly evolving, should be constantly evolving. I think picking up a new tool can be an awesome way to refresh your work, can teach you more about the things you want to communicate, and that is why I love digital art so much. So today we're just going to make a really basic illustration just to get the feel of the tools. I'll show you some of the brushes that I use, and then we'll go from there. We're starting with a blank canvas. I use 8.5 by 11, either vertical or horizontal. Why do I keep doing that? You know what horizontal means. Messed up my angle. Okay. This one I'm going to work on a horizontal canvas. I don't know. There's no reason, just seems fun. So for me, my work has evolved. I used to do line work first, fill in with color. Lately, I've been working in shapes of color, drawing with shapes rather than with line. Whatever floats your boat. Do whatever you would like in this stage. The main purpose is to get down your initial artwork. So I am going to create a landscape. I find them to be really calming. Oftentimes I'll find myself just sort of mindlessly creating a landscape. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and it's just, that's kind of a foundational aspect of my work. I create a lot of landscape work, a lot of settings that feature a very Pacific Northwest-esque environment. I really should push into other environments, and I've worked a little bit in more like kind of desert settings, things like that. Drawing for my D&D campaign actually really pushes this because obviously, you know, we're set all over the place.
Layers!
So one thing is to practice layering well. So each thing that I want to set apart from the thing behind it gets a new layer. This can sometimes mean you've got a lot of layers. If you feel really confident about what you're doing, you're not wanting to move anything around, you know, you may work in less layers. I tend to create a lot of layers in this initial stage so that I can move things around as I see fit. And then I begin to flatten once I feel okay about where I'm at compositionally. I started drawing digitally for the most part in like 2018, 2019. So I was just finishing up art school actually. And my final project I did almost entirely digitally, and it wasn't really a tool I had like worked in for a really long time. So actually a lot of my senior show work is very different than what I do now, but I was kind of laying the foundation, I guess, so to speak, for how I would work in the future. It's just very different. I'm still really proud of that show, and I still refer to it for work that I'm creating now, but definitely had less of a handle on the tools. What I find fun about digital work is you can really experiment with different mark making tools, and you know, for some people there's a barrier to entry. Like I for one have experienced, like, you know, things cost a lot, and yeah, an iPad definitely costs a lot, but you know, purchasing paints over and over again, things like that, it does add up quite a bit. And working with the iPad, having this one tool that lasts you forever, but then getting to find brushes that sort of mimic the different mediums that you're interested in, doesn't limit you from picking up those mediums. It does help like kind of decide like, ooh, do I like this tool of mark making?
Talk to me, Harry Sidler! Tell me all about it!
Here, so I actually got this color palette. I will track down where I got it from and put it in the description, but it is a Studio Ghibli sourced color palette. So yes, Ghibli Forest. So I've pulled colors that I wanted from this Ghibli Forest palette and put them in my personal one that I've built for myself. And I think it's nice to kind of have a palette to refer back to. You get to know it really well and its capacity to adapt and stuff. You just get to know the colors you're using, and yeah, color is really fun, but it can be very overwhelming, I think. So having a palette that you feel confident in can be really helpful in sort of making that dilemma a little easier. So you're not kind of constantly searching the infinite color wheel for the colors you want to be using. Because I've decided I'd like a little body of water to roll up right here. Yeah. Okay. I think this guy needs like eyebrows. I think that's why I don't like the character yet. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want in here? Maybe a snowy mountain is looking at this guy. I used to kind of not create this type of work because I wanted to be seen as serious or something. Yeah, like silly things or lighthearted things made me feel like, what if I want to also do serious things or like move beyond the children's genre? And it is important to sort of pursue a path that people will hire you for. I get that. And like kind of being predictable for agents and things like that. There also has to be a bit of exploration and a bit of nuance to that. And I've gotten to create work for a lot of different subject matter. And actually like my most serious work has been in this sort of silly style. A kid's book about OCD, we really pursued this lighthearted character design in order to create a story that was more accessible. Because OCD is so difficult and so intense, it was important to us that the character design was friendly and easy to approach. Yeah, I think that there is something to be said for allowing yourself to make silly, fun things and not worrying about it. Are you good? She's throwing litter everywhere. If you are doing art alongside me right now, our step after this is going to be to do some texture.
Baylor, I hardly know her.
Damn it, Michael.
So I'm going to start with some of these distressed crumbles. And we're gonna go in a purple and just go right over top here. So we're gonna set it to overlay and bring down the opacity. And this is kind of creating this paper texture. And you can make this as strong or as subtle as you would like, but it's going to be on overlay. Now we're gonna add another layer. This one is going to be our watercolor paint. And I'm going to this one is going to set the color tone for the entire piece. And again, we're going to be in overlay. I typically use a few of these layers. That way you have some ability to build up texture and color. I would add another one over top of this. Also just helps the whole piece feel a little more cohesive. Texture. Some like sunlight cascading down the hill, reflecting off the snow on the mountain. After that, I want to do a halftone. This is something I added to my work recently. It's from the True Grit texture pack. I really love it as an addition to my work. I don't use it every time, but I'm gonna use it today. It's that kind of classic comic book paper feel. Now the sky is still kind of the thing I want to fix. And I think that I want to add a little blue in the top. So I'm gonna add that blue, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to the blur here and blur it down so it looks like the sun is kind of disappearing under the horizon, and I like that a lot more. I'm gonna kind of go in with some line, add some definition. I'm gonna come in with the drawing brush here and add some highlights. Add can be a bit bright, so we'll do some highlighting on these. Here is the final piece. This took about 45 minutes to do. This was kind of just an introductory into how I work using the app. Main takeaways are use blend modes to your advantage. Use things like overlay to create highlights and texture. Play with different brushes, figure out what works for you, and then create a favorites palette of those things. Have colors that you are confident in and use them often, and continue to experiment with these tools. I can't wait to see what you make, and we'll see you next time.